Hey, I got the wrong headphones on. Give me 1 second. Come on. Testing. Hello. Yeah, good job. Good job. Yep, should be gone now. Yep. Yeah, I'm only getting audio from you. Is that all you have? That's fine if it is. Okay, yep, I'll try and add you as soon as I can. I can't do it now because I've already started the live stream and I can't see the page. Unless I do, can I do this? What time is it? We have 2 minutes. If I change this to studio mode, hopefully this will work. Yes. Okay. Hey. Alpha, something like that? Yes. Okay, say something. The wrong spot. Say something again. Hopefully you come through. No, I got a couple things we'll talk about. Okay, let's do this.
Today's episode is brought to you by PTZ Optics. Disability Upgrade. New Wave Toys and their Replicate Amusements products. And
Boom shakalaka! Hey everybody, it's Tim Kitzer here, the voice of some of your favorite video games like NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. And I'm here to talk to you about Old School Gamer Magazine. It's the magazine for retro gaming, and it's exploding. Kaboom! Print issues come out every other month, and if you want to go green, digital options are available. Visit oldschoolgamer.com and subscribe now. That's oldschoolgamer.com. Boom shakalaka! Kaboom!
And why do I have nothing on the screen? What's going on? Let's try that. There we are. Yay! Hopefully everything's coming through okay.
Always technical issues, but it's all good.
It's something. It's always something.
Now, hopefully they can hear me.
I think they can. People in the chat will always let us know.
Yepers.
And Stephen is away from his home base, which is why we only have hopefully audio for Stephen.
Yep. Just me. Hopefully you guys can all hear me.
Now we're hearing an echo, so let me see here. Maybe it's causing an echo with Stephen. Say something, Stephen.
Say something.
See if we can still hear Stephen. Stephen's in the John, potentially.
I'm not no John. I'm downstairs at my in-laws.
Okay, people said it's better, so got
cool.
that figured out. All right.
So how was your
Hey,
week, sir?
we can't expect after having a good episode with Shiloh and all that, we can't expect that to continue, right? Things have to get a little messy here and there.
That'd be too much to ask for.
I think so. But you know what? Who gives an F? It's Friday once again. You know, it was actually for me and most people here in the U.S. It was a short week anyway. It was only a 4-day work week, but it felt like a 7-day work week. It just was a heck of a week, Stephen. Heck of a week.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had our long weekend last weekend. So here in Canada, it was Victoria Day. So in you guys, it's what, Memorial Day, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah. So that two different countries, but a week apart for good holidays for the summer. That's awesome. So that's pretty cool. So I don't have the people's list in front of us. So why
I'm gonna try and
welcome the guests?
I'm not wearing my glasses because my glasses don't work in this case because my glasses are really for far away. Yet I can't wear them close, and now my eyesight's going close. I guess it's time for bifocals, right? That proves I'm getting old. I'm assuming.
Yep. It's all an old age thing.
It is. We go through the chat right here. We'll start. We get up to the top here. Pliskin's run unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. He's going out with the family, so hope Pliskin runs having a good time. The same thing with R.M. McCrae 114. He's also going out. This is our wife and daughter for a concert. Hopefully they're having a good time at the concert. Of course, AI Jason is here. Who else we got? And Goofy Foot is here always. Thank you so much. Jim, the Pacers fan. Try to pull this up on my phone. I'm going to do it this way better. Peter is here. John is here. Rotondo is here. Paul Barris is here. GLS Gaming is here. Awesome when he comes and joins. Who else we got here? Another Paul we have here. Darth Plagan 66. John, Adam Caleb, always here. Jim and the Pacers. Who else we got? Who we got going through the channel down here? Oh, I always get this right. At Ran Frantic. I hope I got that right. So bad. I'm so bad. Jeff D is here. Mobile Mutants here. Steve M is here.
We got to guess these names, Glenn.
I know. I just suck when it comes to reading people. Hoppy Hands is here. Thor KC is here. Rich is here. The Bone Ajax is here. And Upkiss is here. Sean is here. And I think we got Quantum FX, Twisted Gaming TV is here as well. I think we're caught up right now with the people who are currently in. Oh, Don. Don just joined. So there we go. Caught Don right at the end. What's up, everybody? Well, what's up is
Happy Friday.
It's friggin' Friday. And there's a couple things we'll talk about today. The main topic we'll talk about kind of last, but I'm going to throw some curveballs here and some things that we don't want to do. We don't want to talk about news, kind of talk about everything but today we're going to kind of talk about some of the current things out here. Let me pull this thing up over here.
Are we talking like technology, arcade stuff, or mainstream news here?
Sure. Some mainstream news. If I can actually get this thing to work, my
Don't bring up Donald Trump, please don't.
Oh, we're gonna elect him anyway, so it's okay. We'll help Uncle Donald out. We'll get him in.
Uncle
So
Donald.
one thing I want to talk about, I brought up one time before, is this Mr. Clone. So this is a $99 Mr. Clone, and I'm going to put a link down in the chat if people want to kind of take a look at
$100
this.
Apparently.
$99 is what he's shooting for. I'm going to put this in the chat so people can kind of take a look at this and
if
see.
you don't know what a mister is, say that in the chat too, because then we could talk about that, Glenn and I.
It's too long to put in the chat. The link. I hate when that happens. I'll put it down in the show notes then, I suppose.
It's not that bot blocking you, is it? Or
no, it's just over the characters. So anyway, this clone is fully compatible, at least they're shooting for full compatibility with the actual Mister. Now, the Mister, the original Mister, is about $250-$260 on a good day right now.
Which is called the Intel DE10 Nano, or well, not Intel, but it's the DE10 Nano. So you heard about that. So, but yes, go on. Sorry, just to elaborate.
So yeah, so now this clone is trying to be fully compatible with it. In fact, the designer of the original Mister, he says in this article, reached out to him to help him to make sure this is compatible. So even the original Mister designer is on board. I know people are saying you should support the original guy, you should support the original thing, don't support clones. But the designer of the original Mister is in fact helping him to try and get this in the hands of more people, which I think is pretty good.
What's the name of the company that made the DE10 Nano? It's not Intel, but it's a subsidiary of Intel, if I'm not mistaken.
You're the Mr. Expert. You should know.
Yeah, I know.
You're supposed to be the Mr. Expert.
I don't remember what the name of the company is, but apparently it's a sub-company of Intel that made the Mister.
Well, the Zero Sleep said a Terrastic. Again, horrible at saying names. Hope
that's right.
There you go.
Is it
Thoracic
or something like that?
I think that's why people watch the show, Stephen, to see how badly we butcher the language.
Yeah, it's a pterodactyl DE1050 or whatever. Yeah, so, but I love the Mister that I have. I love it to death. I mean, it does.
That's what people say.
N64. Well, it's N64. They got it working, I think, last year, but it's been being patched every week, practically every month. And the Sega Saturn. So all that stuff gets done on this little tiny device. So if we can get one at, like you said, instead of $250, it's at $99. Everybody's happy, I think, at that point. Where if they can get that that thing at a great price, let's do it. I think
the Mister started off at about $120, or $115, $120 when it first came out. But it was new, and I was all on board with software emulation. I'm like, I understand the it's not hardware. It's not really hardware emulation. It's hardware recreation. So let's get that straight. It's not emulating the chips. It's recreating the chips in this.
It's a bit of both, actually. Like where they can't really decap the chips, where they take them apart. Then it's a little bit of emulation, or they guesswork how it works, the chip.
Okay.
But there's stuff like out there, like the Motorola 68000 that was in the Amiga, the Sega Genesis, all that stuff. Apparently that's out there, the full schematics for that chip. But there's some custom stuff from Nintendo and other companies that they have to kind of guess what makes it tick. You know what I mean? Because they won't disclose the schematics for those chips, right?
The good thing about this, if we get prices down on this, this will be the saving grace when the original hardware dies. Because otherwise it's software emulation. So this technology, these programmers, these engineers, I understand people saying support the original developer, but the original developer is even like, I'm on board helping the guy out. Getting this down lower cost will mean eventually when you have just a plastic shell of a ColecoVision or a plastic shell of an N64, you'll be able to drop in a Mister and have basically the clock cycle perfect thing. Now, chips are getting better and smaller. Right. I would still like to see, and I know they've done it with the SID chip, make it a technology per chip. Like the Bally AstroCade custom chips tend to die because they overheat. instead of replacing the whole motherboard, which usually is okay, the chips die. I like to see individual chips, FPGA chips, to replace the chips that actually go bad. But when all else fails, you have the
Do
mister
the whole thing.
and go down this
Well,
thing.
the mister does the whole circuit board all on one chip, basically.
Right.
So the
But
entire, yeah.
But you, Steve, you could tell me
go
too.
ahead.
Even when you buy this board, DEC10 board, or it's called, or this one.
DE10 Nano.
Thank you, DE10 Nano. Thank you. Even when you purchase that, you still have to purchase, if you want to do certain emulators, additional RAM. There's
Absolutely,
additional
yeah.
things you still have to buy. So it's not $99. You're all set and good. It's $99 for the brain.
So certain cores can run on the base unit amount of RAM. Like I think the TurboGrafx 16 is fine, ColecoVision's fine, Atari 2600 is fine. But when you're getting into the Neo Geo, N64, all that bigger stuff, then you need that extra RAM to kick it in. But apparently there were, I don't know how much progression they were making on the project, but apparently the DE10 Nano itself has, I think, 1 gig or maybe 2 gigs of actual RAM, but the core can't use that RAM. So they were trying to get it to use that RAM that's built right on the DE10 Nano, and they couldn't do it for some technical reason that I forget.
Well, here, let me give you another example. He said in this article. So the DE10 is like $250 right now, and the memory expansion is like another $75, $60, $75.
Depending on the one. I think the biggest one they make is what, 512? Or is it 256?
No, there's two. There's a 2 gig he was talking about, and a very high clock rate. But his clone, obviously his DE10 clone is $99. His 2 gig memory expansion with the very high speed memory that you need, $15.
Wow.
So he really is trying to save money. So you still be well under the original cost of the DE10 with that RAM on there as well.
I've seen people, by the time you buy all the knickknacks, so the D10 Nano, the RAM, the I/O board, which allows you to plug multiple USB, the fan, and all that stuff, I've seen people be out in the upwards of $500-$600 by the time you're all said and done. And
that's a big investment. That is a definite big investment. But again, if you are looking for something that's very cycle accurate, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I play the games, and some emulators I could definitely tell, like some of the AT games, Sega Genesis ones, it's very obvious. It's not emulated very well. But most of the emulators are really good unless you are, so die hard you can tell. I'm a gamer abroad. Like I could definitely tell when something's really off. But if something's slightly off, I generally won't know or even care. As long as the game runs and you can play it, I'm usually okay with it. But again, as we know in this genre, we have people who care about every single thing, and guys who care about different things. So for me,
some of these guys are hardcore. Like I've seen people reverse engineer certain chips. Basically, what they do is they hook up the chip. They either decap the chip, so that's when you take the top off, and then you start X-raying the different layers on the chip, like hardcore stuff. And then there's people. What they do is they hook up, they make a project board, and they probe each pin on the chip, and then it gets an echo back of what the response is, and they try to mimic that on the FPGA so that it receives the same signals and the same response. You know what I mean? So it's above my pay grade all day long.
Well, and hey, Michael B., hello to you as well. Happy Friday. The thing also is the DE10, I think now has been out a number of years, and it's starting to show its age. It's having like a limit.
There's a roof,
right?
There's
a roof where there's only so many things they could do with a DE10. I know they've been kind of looking at other FPGA chips in the future, but again, there's definitely a lot still with the DE10 that's currently done, still being worked on.
I think the top end of this is a PlayStation and a Nintendo 64 is the ceiling. As far as
PS2, anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of, unless somebody can magically make it happen. But from what I understand, N64 PS1 it's done already. They just got to keep tweaking it as time goes on. But that seems to be the roof, the ceiling, if you will, of this technology, which isn't bad, to be honest. But obviously a Viper and a Raspberry Pi 5 or 4
Right.
will clearly emulate more, but in the end, it's not terribly cycle accurate, but hey, it's good enough, I think, for a lot
Well,
of
the
people.
Zero
Right?
Sleep confirms no PS2 or Dreamcast. That's a generation too far for the DE10. And that's why I know they're looking at other FPGAs in the future. But that's only going to have, again, that cost will again be up there using different types of chips that have more ability to do larger cores. So software emulation will still always be there, honestly.
Oh, it'll never go away, because I think a lot of times too, and the chat can correct me, is that a lot of the chips, the way they mimic them on the Mr. FPGA, are actually pulled from the MAME or the files from that, and reverse engineering how they work to mimic those chips, and they implement that into the FPGA. It's kind of a weird process. I looked at a video one time and I was like, wow. So what they do is they like MAME for arcade stuff. They'll actually because arcade have many custom chips.
Yes.
You know, from Konami Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the board alone, I've got one of those boards, and there's like at least 8 chips that are custom from Konami on that thing. And they're not off the shelf parts like a lot of other arcade machines, right? So they have to reverse engineer them.
Hence the word custom.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to figure out what makes them tick and how they function, and all that stuff. So a lot of them, what they do is they go to MAME for that stuff, and when somebody decaps it or reverse engineers it at the hardware level, then they update the code. You do an update to your MiSTer, and you have a more cycle accurate version of that arcade machine or console or whatever, or computer for that matter.
I'll definitely say he said he's not quite sure when it'll be available, because he had talks with the original DE10 developer. He's going to make some hardware revisions to the board. He did say one other thing that was kind of cool. I know the DE10 only runs on 5 volts, where his, the Viper, can run on 5 volts or 12 volts. That gives you more options for different types of configurations. So that's kind of cool. So he's not sure when it's going to be available, because he's going to do these revisions. But something to keep our eye out on. It'll probably come out this year, I'm sure. And I think for the price, I would be able to jump on board. At least because you and some of the people are just like, oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I gotta see for myself, because I'm just like, it's emulation, whether it's the original hardware design or not. It's still not physically the real chips. It's still a copy of the real chips.
What's nice about this is that what's different than a traditional emulator is that once you load up the core, there's a set of custom options for that core that allow you to do interesting things like swap joystick ports, but it does it kind of at the hardware level. You can say add a floppy drive, and it adds a floppy drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does very custom things for that core. Or you could say load a different kernel. You could do that in emulation, but this, you're doing it as it's on. It's kind of weird. It's like you're pulling chips out live and the thing's just glitching out in front of you, but then you reset it and it has everything you need. It's really funky.
And Jason brought up a good point here. There besides the DE10, a lot of these new handhelds coming out, and a lot of systems coming out are starting to use FPGA chips in there.
Well, the Analog Pocket, which is a pocket size FPGA, where it'll do Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and the links. It'll do it all. And it uses cartridge adapters, but
I guess
now you jailbreak it.
That's kicking off another, because these handhelds come out like crazy right now. You go on Amazon,
I know,
you'll find like 600 of these little handhelds by different manufacturers, Chinese manufacturers and stuff.
And all the retro channels that probably you and I watch, they're covered with those. They send them out to all these guys to review and all that stuff, right? So they're cool. It's just you got to pick the right one, I guess.
So far, like I said, I haven't really had the taste of this, so I'm fine using a Raspberry Pi compute board, or now soon my Viper is going to be going in a lot of my stuff here. I'm fine with that. But you do and have talked so highly over this DE10 and the MiSTer project and the way it's done. So that's what everyone says. So I'll have to try it.
It's cool, because there's one thing that I did with it that was really interesting, and I need to share this, because you can do this with emulation, but on the FPGA, you can actually hook up a real floppy drive from that machine, and it thinks it's running on the real thing, Like, in other
Which
words,
is
on the
kind of
Commodore
cool.
64, you can just get an adapter, you hook it up to the DE10 Nano, and then in the core settings, you could say, I've got this adapter with a real floppy drive. And when you get to the ready screen on the Commodore 64, you can type in load like you did in the old days, and it'll load off that floppy drive. So the core doesn't know any better that it's not a real Commodore 64. It just starts loading the floppy. And that's pretty cool. So you're
Well,
still able to use your media, right? So
big shout out to Papa Brad's Gaming. I chose a Viper for my next retro emulation device. So excited to get Viper and play some classic arcade games. And that will be shipping in July. And I'm happy to say that, where, I don't know what I should say. I already talked about R-Cade. There's Battlesera and R-Cade. I think you guys might be even happier loading R-Cade. And we're kind of trying to work out some things with them to partner up with them. To even make some better things for Viper. But that's news. Maybe by next week, we'll have more news on that. But that's enough, I think.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the price on the Viper? Ish.
I feel like the old Earl Shives paint commercial. I'll give you any Viper, any size, $39.95, but it's $39.99 actually. But,
so the reality with Raspberry Pis, the Viper, is the price is right. It's cheap, it's inexpensive,
like me,
and it works.
Just like me.
Sure. No, if a budget is the thing, and you don't care about cycle accuracy, hey, do those all day long. They work great. They're easy to configure most of the time. And the mister is if you want to just have just a bit better. You know what I mean? I've gone through all the emulation boxes, and I wanted to try this new technology. That's all it was.
Right.
So, yeah, let's move on.
Okay, let's go on to the next time. So the next thing I want to talk about is some good news for people who thought some things were too expensive. So New Wave Toys sent an announcement out today. They are doing their $250 or $399, depending on which one you get, of their Golden Tee. But they're now releasing a slightly more inexpensive one for $199. So if you get this one here, $249, it comes with the marquee at the top. They removed that from this one here, and you can now get it for $99. So, and you still can use the coupon code for 20% off the $199 for this one. And the only difference between the two is you don't get that marquee at the top. Some people don't care about that, and if they just want the Golden Tee, they can get that. And you can still purchase separately, the GRS control panel on there. It'll still play. You're just missing out on that LED thing at the top. So if you're interested in it,
bundles is what you're saying?
Different bundles, exactly. Yeah, you save $50, and $50.
So you get one with the whole works. You can get one with just the machine itself, etc. I guess, right? So there's different packages and bundles. Okay, there you go. Correct. So you get one with the full-size controller and the mini arcade, and then what do they call that thing? You called it a marquee, but there's a real name for the thing on the top.
Yeah, there is a name.
I forget what it's called. I forget what it's called.
Let's go in here. They'll tell us. Let's go by now. Let's see. They'll tell us in here. What do we got in here?
Help us out, guys. It's called the thing that sits
DMD.
on top.
It's a DMD. DMD cab topper.
What is it? The other one? The topper. Huh? That's what it is. It's the topper.
The topper? Topper popper.
Arcade topper, I think is what the other name for it. It's a DMD. But yeah, that's cool though. I'm excited for that Golden Tee. I'm an avid golf player, so hey, if I
so
can...
that's it. So that's just good from Shiloh. A lot of people were cool. I don't want to do were upset, but they thought it was a lot of money. But again,
we love having him on the show. We love it.
We do. And so he listened and said, "Listen, I can't do better with what he's doing. But if he takes away that DMD, and some people don't really care about the DMD, you get the Golden Tee, $50 less, and
cool.
You'll get some Golden Tee." So
awesome.
Remember, and Jason put out there 20% off code Golden 35. We'll get you 20% off that $199, which will help out just a little bit.
When's it coming
fourth
out?
Quarter, sometime fourth quarter, which means you'll probably slip into 25. Christmas. Well, in general, what happens is something always happens. So I would say sometime between the fourth and first quarter of 25.
Oh, okay, cool. It looks like.
But with that being said,
unit, so that's good. So.
With that being said, Zoltar. Oh, I went too far out here. Zoltar should be. Why can't I get back to the main page? Why is it always got to be so difficult? These things.
I can't see anything. I'm running blind here.
I know. But Zoltar should be coming out soon. It's going through its final tests right now, and I'm excited for this Zoltar myself.
Apparently, it works exactly like the big one.
It really does, and that's why I can't wait to get my hands on it. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Squeezing
so
all
the
that
pre-order for
into
that, so the pre-order for that was $99, which I thought was an amazing deal. Even at $149, not too bad.
That's not bad.
Nope. And looks we got a super chat. Have we missed a super chat? Hobby Hands. Q1. That's what I kind of said. Have you seen the software to recompile N64 game to be PC compatible? Actually, I have. Have you watched Star Wars K44 HD? I have not. You did, Steven?
What? Okay, so say that again. Did I watch Star Wars K44 HD?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen that. I watched 4K 77.
I have to get a copy of that. Yeah, I have to get a copy of that.
I'll tell you
that's basically a completely restored original theatrical cut of the movie.
Yeah. So what is it? 4K 77 is the original movie with all its quirks. And the other one was called 4K 80, which is Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
And then the version I got was a beta about 8 months ago. So I'm sure so what they're doing is they release betas of these movie cuts. It's kind of funky, to be honest. But and then they're going to do Jedi, which is 4K 83, which is pretty cool. So I watched 4K 77. It was an interesting experience because you tend to forget what it looked like.
You know what? And it doesn't come up saying New Hope. It comes up saying Star Wars.
That's it.
Because that's what it was back in the day.
Plain Star Wars, and it had all the weird special effects and everything that were, that was in there. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. We got Michael B in the house. Michael B, the Game Genie. Don't forget Super Gamer Dudes comes out after this. But do we really need Zoltar? Yes, he says, and I agree. We got to get ourselves some Zoltar. So let's see what else we're going to talk about today. What else do we have here today? Oh yes, this Saturday. So tomorrow, if you are anywhere near the Columbus, Ohio area, KorgsCon is on.
Okay.
And this is the second year I was invited, and the second year I couldn't make it. I have to actually got a working weekend.
Won't be able to make it because it's a real big flight for me, but you could probably go. What state is it in? Missouri?
It's in Columbus, Ohio.
It's
Columbus, Ohio. And I was my second year invited. Second year, I missed it. I had worked the last time, and I'm working this weekend this time, so I can't go. Great bunch of people there. Saw some really good guests coming out there, except this one guy that, if I can bring him up here, let's see, 24. Yeah, some good guests here, except there's one clown in the house. Let's see if we find him. We have David Crane that's here. There's some good people. Keep going down. This is what runs the road for me. Let's see. Who's this one clown? Nintendo, he's a good guy. We have Game Dad here. Gamer Aimer, excellent people. Mr. Rightway. Of course, Jay Malone. He's this guy's awesome. And we keep going down. Oh, here we go. Here's the guy who's going to ruin everything. Friggin' the Tech Buzz. Oh, my Lord. Just kidding, Steven.
Steven.
But if you guys are in the Columbus area, this is tomorrow, KorgCon 2024. Can I put this link in? Maybe this link.
Is that near where he lives?
I think he's like an hour away. I think he's an hour away. Oh, not too bad.
I'd go if I was an hour away. But since I'm more like a day's worth of trekking, yeah. So, but what was the last thing we were talking about? That whole machine there, whatever. That machine that, don't get me wrong, if you want to keep talking about the show.
Oh, Zoltar?
I can't see the, no, the device from Evercade.
Oh, we're not there yet, Steven. You're giving away, you're throwing the baby with the bathwater up. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
we're doing something new on our show. We're talking about all different things instead of old stuff. We're talking about news, man. News.
Sure, let's do news. Keep going. I can't see anything, so I showed up at the last minute, in all fairness.
Okay, so since Steven, we're getting there. So KorgsCon is this weekend. Now we're going to talk about the Evercade. Now we're there. See, it didn't take too long.
I'm sorry.
It was the next thing.
On the back. Was it?
It was the next. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So
move it there, and we'll talk about the other stuff after. We don't probably have to talk about this
Right.
too long anyway. So
the Evercade has been out for quite some time. They started with some handhelds. Then it came out with like this here, which is like a console-based version of it. You can take the cartridge out of the portable unit and plug it into that. Now they have the Alpha, which are like these small bar top units. And you can take any one of your game cartridges from the collection, and you can run it in any one. So it's their own ecosystem. They have a handheld where they start with a handheld. Then they moved over to a console for your TV set. And now they have a bar top.
And you use all these cartridges to make it all work, basically.
And Papa Brad says something that we all know. Evercade is better than R-Cade 1-Up, Countercade in every way. And that's true. We'll get into that in a second. My thing with the show I did is, do we even need it? Do people care?
Let me ask
don't
you a question.
own any of these, Stephen. Do you own any?
That's the question I had for you. Do you own any of this? I do not either. So
I do not.
I do not. So I have no idea.
Here's what I'm going to say.
It is, right?
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go by what other people have said. People have said that it's pretty cool, but I'm going to give them the kudos in the one spot. Here's my check mark for why it's a win. You're buying physical media. The game is on the cartridge. You own it. So when you're buying these compilations of games, whether it be Atari or Konami or Tomb Raider or these other things, you actually get a physical cartridge. You own it. It's yours. They can't take it. They can't turn up the server.
There's no home on the internet or any of that stuff. It just
here's Brooklyn Menace. He says he owns them all. He owns them all. So if he bought one to next, they must be doing something right, because obviously they're getting repeat customers. And I've heard this from more than him. Now, I personally don't own any of them.
Me neither, yeah.
But let's talk about this one here, which is a new Alpha, if I can get back to it. Here's the Alpha. So the thing with this Alpha is, if I get back here, you stupid ninny. Get over there. Stop. So this is the Alpha. And down here, there's actually 2 cartridge ports. Now, I'm not quite sure. Go back. I'm not sure why you have to have 2 cartridge ports in there.
Maybe you can switch games or package,
Maybe it makes it easier to do that.
Yeah, because if you're pulling in and out all the time, it would probably wear out the edge connector, I'm guessing. And then that's my guess. But you know what's weird in their marketing? This is the first time I never really asked the question, but you could put this in 3 different devices, your cartridges that you bought, which is kind of cool. And I didn't know that until I was reading this Alpha thing today, and I went, well, because I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on people that were reviewing them or whatever, and not many of them mentioned that, hey, you could take this and plug it in over here and plug it over there, in the 2 devices. So I don't know if it's bad marketing or what.
Well, what I do like about it, where the cartridge port is, which is here, it looks like the coin return. So at least they made it look nice. Now, what I understand as well, these marquees up here are swappable and light up. That's kind of nice. You can change that out. 8-inch screen. 8-inch screen's okay. Again, I've heard good things about the screens that they've used. So that's probably going to be okay. And they're saying they're using, I'm not sure what Sanwa, it could be Sanwa, but they are saying competition-grade controls, which is definitely not what you're getting with R-Cade 1-Up. And that's the thing. So basically, Evercade already has my vote just because they're going against R-Cade 1-Up, and I think already they're going to bitch slap R-Cade 1-Up with this device.
I said it before. The bar is set nice and low. It's set nice and low, man. So it can only be up from there. You know what I mean? If you go cheap, people know it's cheap. You could buy these buttons and controls at a decent price, and they're great quality. But if you're getting stuff that's built half-ass, you're going to get what you pay for.
Now, here's the one bad thing, and Jason's bringing it up right now. Another licensing restrictions. So if it had HDMI out, there would be specific games that would not be permitted to do that. Now, in the iiRcade, Sega did not allow...
On the Evercade, there's no HDMI out? Really?
Well, I'm not sure, but he's saying there could be restrictions where it wouldn't allow it to display it on an external TV set. And iiRcade had that with Sega. Sega would not allow them for Space Harrier or Alien Syndrome. Those games could, if you plugged in external HDMI, you got a black screen. And I remember initially playing it, I was talking to John. I'm like, John, there's no displays. I can't capture it, and it's basically it was restricted. Now with the mystery team encoder board, you can kind of go in there, you can uncheck that and force and allow it. But that's one of the still the bad things
Weird.
about these type of machines. When you emulate it in a program or in a Mister, you own it. Technically, you have it, and you can play it on TV sets. You can play it on screens. That's where they lose me. Is when the licensing. It's not their fault, but the licensing restricts how I can use the content. That's where I always have a problem with it, and it's not their fault.
I think it's so dumb because it's 30 years old. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's the weirdest thing. It's 30 years old.
Brad, there is no excuse, and I agree. If you purchase the cartridge, why is it not allowed, let's say, to play it on the machine, but not on an external TV set? That's where it gets really dumb to me, and that's where I start getting pissed off. I guess it bugs me.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree with you 100%. There should be on a 30-year-old thing like this. Who cares at the end of the day if it's on 10 TVs? Who cares? You know.
Well, Papa Brad's saying this device has no HDMI out, so in that case, there's no problem. It's not their fault. There is no HDMI out.
The Evercade Alpha does not have video out to a television. Okay.
Correct. So you got to play an 8-inch screen.
Somebody will figure out something, but
I'm sure that they will. Now, I'm gonna say just looking at it and looking at the counter case R-Cade did visually, just looking at it, it looks just as it is a nicer looking machine. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit smaller than the counter case R-Cade 1UP did, because the R-Cade 1UP is using
right.
Yeah, they were, but the screens weren't very good in their countercades. I actually never purchased one, but Angel Otero from Disability Upgrades, he sent me a Pac-Man countercade, and it was okay. I mean, the controllers were still bad, but outside of that, it was okay. I think this would be better. I think it's also better because you buy the one, and you can kind of change the marquee, and you can put different cartridges in. So I think that's a good step for Evercade. Again, this is also a British company. It's a UK-based company. So good for them.
Now, I got a question that I did a fast glance at the website. So from what I understand, like the Street Fighter model, it was built in. There was a few games built in. Does that mean built in, there's no cartridge? You know what I mean? No physical media? It's built right in the machine, or does it come with a cartridge with all that stuff on there, so then you can take that, put it into your
If I was to guess,
built in.
I would say it's a cartridge. If I was
a
to guess,
cartridge that you can move around, that'd be great. But it said on the website built in. But does that mean it's just bundled in, or I don't know? It'd be kind of cool if it was a cartridge. Then you can take
it does. Okay, it does say 6.
Handheld.
I guess the one you buy, it does have probably an internal storage, 6 games built in. And that's kind of a fail. It's kind of a fail.
Yeah,
what
because they have cartridges on their other stuff. It's kind of like,
what if you wanted to take it portable? What if you wanted to play this on your TV set, or take this and play it on your portable? That's kind of a fail if that's built in. It's not a huge problem, but
it goes out of their wheelhouse, or their
there you go.
That they're doing. They promoted this, hey, own your physical media, and then they put this thing out. It's like, well, what happened? Why couldn't you do the cartridge thing anyways? You know what I mean? Like, unless Capcom said no, can't have it or whatever. But I don't know, because there's a Street Fighter and a Mega Man one. If I go by memory,
correct. Yeah, so. And the Street Fighter thing, that people talk about, New Wave Toys and Golden Tee, how it's been done to death. So at Street Fighter 2. I mean, that's been
Street Fighter's
everyone has done that one to death. And I'm not sure if Mega Man, it's pretty popular, but they have some other games. They have a Final Fight. There's some other games on there too. But I don't know if I would purchase.
Final Fight's so good. I love it.
Really, I'm more Streets of Rage than Final Fight. I never really got into Final Fight.
Final Fight. Final Fight is one of those games that it's like Karateka on the Commodore 64.
Erotica?
You kind of remember
Erotica? What?
Karateka, not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Karateka. I'm sorry.
Got mine in the gutter. You remember it better than it really was, in a sense. You know what I mean? Where when you play it, you're just nostalgia versus this is a great game. You know what I mean? So it's I prefer Streets of Rage also because it's more fast paced and there's more stuff going on. But Final Fight was, I think, probably one of the first ones in that genre, wasn't it? Or Double Dragon, maybe? You know, I don't know.
I'm not sure on that.
I'm not sure either. So I don't know. What's it retail? I saw like $300 or $199 or euros, or I forget what it was.
I thought it was
the price.
$149. Let's see if there's a price on here.
There
Here's
is.
cartridge ports. See, I like how that's done. The way and they got 50 cartridges, so there's a lot of games you could put on this thing, and so they have a good ecosystem on there. I know there's Duke Nukem as well, but there's the cartridge port. I think it's very well done. It looks like the coin return. So if the joystick is and the buttons are, they say, very good ones. I'm not sure if the Sanwa whose there are, but they have to be better than what Arcade 1-Up is dishing out. And it does have a headphone jack, and it has 2 USB ports hidden there as well, so you can use controllers on there. So I think it's nicely designed. They got some good future proof in there with it. And again, you're buying something that has physical media that you own, that company can't go belly up, and take the product away from you, which I kind of like. And swappable marquees, which I think is a nice touch as well. Like people like Angel Otero can make new ones. You can drop right in it and go.
People will be hacking that the first week it comes out.
Well, that's the thing. So it is Sanwa. So it's Sanwa arcade controls. So that's good. It would be better. It'd be better for GRS controls. But hey, I do admit Sanwa's good stuff. So I can't argue that.
They're kind of like the OG guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Sanwa. You can't go really wrong with Sanwa. And to be honest, my gate switchers. I know Pop Brad was talking about before. My gate switchers are Sanwa compatible, but it doesn't look like there's enough room to put my gate switchers in there. That looks pretty tight. Well, I don't think my gate switches would fit. But I know Papa Brad will take a Dremel tool, and there'll be a big hole. There'll be like a big hole right here where he puts in the switchers. So he could definitely do it. But the price, which is up to 2 local multiplayers. It's got Wi-Fi built in. Okay, USB-C. 2 players. So it must be able to link these up either over Wi-Fi or through the USB-C cable. So that's kind of nice. So if you did buy 2 of them, playing like Street Fighter, you have 2 of these. Okay, you can't do that with the Arcade 1-Up ones. The Arcade 1-Ups are single player ones. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be all right. I don't know. Does Bluetooth in there at all, or
doesn't say anything about Bluetooth? Doesn't say anything about that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's basically, I did. Did you want to talk about that some more, or what?
Yeah,
what time are we doing for time? I don't see a clock.
Oh, we're fine with time. Stop being such a baby with time.
No,
so it looks like right now it's $229 US right now, but when the pre-order's done, it'll be $249. So it's only a $20 difference. If you didn't get the pre-order, you wanted to kind of wait. That's not too horrible.
No, that's
really
not bad. I mean, it's I don't know. It's pretty cool. I don't own any Evercade stuff, so I'm not part of that. We'll call it the family. So if there's people in the chat, tell Glenn and I what you think about the Evercade ecosystem, in general, because me and Glenn know not much about it. Other than
I know about it. Right? I know what it is.
No,
I've seen people talk about it.
Hands-on kind of stuff, right? So,
right, but all the people who talked about it that I've seen was sent one for a review, and sometimes you sent one for a review, you're always gonna be like, it's it's awesome, it's great.
Oh, that's good. Nothing wrong with that.
But I know
that's
also
good.
Metal Pixel, who's not that way, still seems to like his. So maybe.
Pardon me.
Bless
Sorry
you.
about that, guys.
Bless you.
I don't have the mute button nearby.
I guess my thing now is I think I've gotten to the point in my collection where I definitely know I have too much. I got way too many things. Now I'm trying to do the reverse what Steven did to me years ago, when Steven screwed up my brain and I had to buy everything. Now I am downsizing and trying to focus on what I really want. And obviously, I don't need to have 2 or 3 of everything anymore. Maybe I just keep the one that has a box, even if the box has to be opened, and sell the other ones. First of all, that'll get me back probably a good half my space. Because half my space is for my untouched originals and box. Then I have my other ones that are open to play with. And then I have another one, which is usually the ones I modified. I'll put a Raspberry Pi in, or I put screens in, or AV out. So I have all these things. So now I'm really trying to say, you know what? I don't need all that stuff. Maybe it's time to dumb it down. And I did it with the arcade one-up, but I cleared out a bedroom, which was
Cool.
packed. And that room, what's been good about that room right now?
You got space.
Well, I got space, but I have the Oculus MetaQuest 2, right? So
oh, yeah, you're able to
I was playing it in the living room.
Slamming into
right.
anything.
I'm in the living room. I can only go about 4 feet each way when I get the grid in front of me with everything. So I'm playing Vader and I get the grid. I'm doing this, I get the grid. So the other day, yesterday, it was yesterday, I went upstairs, I went in that room. So I got all this room. I have a whole room. And I was able to walk around Vader. He's standing in front of me. I'm walking around him. I'm walking around the room. I was playing what was that game? The Pirate DX,
Oh, yeah.
And I'm now hopping around the room. I'm shooting everything because I had actually room now to do that. So that was a good thing.
It's a blessing in disguise, Glenn.
Kind of. So, like I said, I probably wouldn't buy this because I have so many ways now to play the game. And I'm going to be honest here. This is coming from the heart, guys. The iiRcade Legacy and Gold, which I have over here, they've become my favorite machines to use. I have my deck in it. I got either Team Encoder in one, and I got the Viper in them. I can put anything I want on there. I got my spinner. I got trackball. I got dual joysticks. I have USB ports. I can plug in everything. I don't really need anything else. To be honest, I also have the At Games Legends Ultimate over here. And the only reason I'm not selling that is because I got the Joe Saber artwork with my name all over it. I'm like, it'd be kind of stupid to sell to someone with GRS
custom.
all over it. Yeah. Like, I'm going to sell to someone. Maybe Adam Caleb would buy it. It's got your name on it, Glenn. I'll take it. But I don't play it. I don't play it because they did so many firmwares on there that it becomes a pain to get access to the games. Where on the iiRcade, I can use the mystery encoder. I said the game's just there. I copy them on the board. They're there. Or I press one button. I got the Viper, and I have everything else. So I don't really need.
It's an all-in-one thing.
It is. Even my Zaxxon. I have you can see my Zaxxon's there. Do I need to keep the Zaxxon anymore? Maybe I'm getting old, Steven. Maybe I'm just getting old.
I mean, what's really weird is how emulation has evolved. In my MAME arcade cabinet, it's got a full-blown PC in there, and you don't even need that no more. The full-blown PC. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I don't need all that crap anymore.
So I'm just trying to. I really want to focus more on the T6 GRS stuff. I want to make products that people want, that people can afford, best quality. Working with American Gear Company, working with Arcade, working with New Wave Toys, and some other partners I'm working with right now behind the scenes to make better products. I don't really need all this stuff. And again, my son could care less. He just really could care less. So maybe it's time to let it go. Liquidate and let it go. And let some other people enjoy it. But let some people see maybe what they were missing. But in any case, I got off topic here about it. But so I guess people seem to speak fairly highly of the Evercade. And again, Steven, say it again. Between this and Arcade One-Up, they set the
bar nice and low.
So thank you, Arcade One-Up, for setting the bar nice and low. It doesn't mean this is a bad device, but it definitely has to be better with their offering, I guess.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, in the end, let's hope the Evercade and all these other products, they'll just be better. That's, it can only go up from here, so.
Yeah, and I got to do a shout out for Papa Brad. So if you go to Papa Brad's channel, he posts video after video playing on the iiRcade, all these different games, and, using my control deck on there. So if you're not a subscriber, take a look at Papa Brad's Gaming. He's got so many good videos on there, just playing the games and enjoying himself, right? Which is kind of what it's about.
Yeah. If you're not having fun, you're in the wrong business, or the
wrong business, Jack.
the wrong pastime, I guess is the better way to put it. So I've got a quick thing to shove in here. Is
yeah, good. Shove it in now, Steven.
Next week, the Accolade Star Wars. I think it's next week, June 6th.
I am not looking forward to it.
I'm curious at this point. I'm just curious. That's it. Like, honest to God, I'm just plain curious. It has Carrie Ann Moss from The Matrix. She plays a Jedi. Man, who knows, right? I am curious to know. I'm gonna watch it just because it's Star Wars and
I
it
still
talks
haven't
about how the
watched.
Sith became the Sith and all that. And,
I still haven't watched the what was it show Endor.
oh
I,
yeah, that's a slow burn. It's all right. I liked it. It's not something I'd watch every week, but it's good. It's probably up there with Mandalorian. If I were to rate them from the new
which
stuff,
okay.
Mandalorian, it'd be Andor underneath, in my opinion.
Well, Vader 86, Dave D says you can't wait for Acolyte. I don't know. It doesn't look. I don't.
You know what?
I don't know.
They're gonna have, I think, on was it June 6th? They're gonna have the first 2 episodes. We'll see. I don't want to. The trailers look good. Maybe it's woke as hell. I don't know, but who knows? We'll see when we get there. And I'm anxious to at least watch it, absorb it.
Yep. Papa Brad
we'll
put it
see.
here perfectly, Stephen. Disney Star
What's
Wars
that?
always scares me a bit, and it
It
does. It
It does
does.
absolutely. I'm scared, but I'm gonna watch it anyways and see what it's all about. I'm curious. It's Star Wars.
You know
I
what?
may
You know
just
what's
watch
funny?
it once.
You know what's funny?
You know.
I was talking about using the MetaQuest 2 and playing the Vader Immortal, or it's Vader Immortal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and I love the game. I played it a number of times. I'm really enjoying it now. There's space, but played it a number of times. I think it was a very well done game. I think it was just really, for me, it was a 10 out of 10 game. And I watched the credits go by, and I saw in there, Mother effing Kathleen Kennedy, President of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and I vomited in my mouth a little bit when that went by. There was a little
She has nothing
vomit.
to do with the games other than her minions telling them
The
the game
fact her
developers
name
if
is
they're
in
on
that,
track or not.
the fact her name's in that made me
I know.
vomit in my mouth a little bit. It just really, really did.
Oh, my favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future. That woman's name is on that poster.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what? What's she doing on my favorite movie as a credit? Like, you know, she's everywhere. Unfortunately, that's why she got that damn job. So.
Yep. She
Yeah,
suckered Lucas. Must like still do a couple of
Yeah.
Mickeys.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so real quick. So if you guys live in the Columbus, Ohio area, you definitely want to go to CorgsCon, Columbus, Ohio. It is tomorrow. Stephen Haywood will be there. The Tech Buzz, as well as a lot of other gamers. Unfortunately, I will not be at this one. Maybe I'll be in 2025. But what, Stephen? I do have an announcement though.
Okay.
And where is it? If I could find it. So June 28th through June 30th, in the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, GRS is sponsoring
Cool.
the Too Many Games Expo. I will be there front and center. We will have little tags with my logo on it with the QR code. And you can take that QR code and scan that QR code. It'll take you to a T-Sticks website for some special pricing for people going to the show. But I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the Angry Video Game Nerd will be there. So I'm dying to meet the Angry Video Game Nerd.
When
I've
is
watched
this?
the stuff. This is June, this month, 28th, 29th, and 30th. So it's Friday
At the end of the
night,
month. At the end of the
Saturday,
month.
and Sunday. I will be there all 3 days. I will have my my stuff there, front and center. I'll have my boomstick, Target Pro. I'll have my yoke, my Ikari sticks, and some other things there to show off. Meet people. I may be doing a talk there. I'm not quite sure. They see if they can squeeze me in because the schedule is really tight with the people who normally do talks. And
Okay.
that time I talk, I mumble anyways. People don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I may do a talk there. But in any case, I will be there. It was an honor to sponsor the show. And
Pardon me.
maybe I'll meet some guys out there. And Philly cheesesteaks. Holy shit. I will eat Philly cheesesteaks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
The real ones.
The real ones. And I was out there back in the 90s, right? I bought a Philly cheesesteak at like 2 in the afternoon. I left it in my apartment on the table, not in the fridge, just on the table. And I was out for like 2 hours, 3 hours. I came back at 5, 6 o'clock. You could see the grease in the air. You felt it, and you just walked through and you felt the grease. But
Your
you bit
arteries
into
were
it.
clogging as you
It
were
was-
walking.
Yeah, and if I took a bite, oh, it is so good. So bad,
Yeah.
but so
But
good.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that stuff that's usually bad for you is really, really good. Usually. Especially a Philly cheesesteak.
I will, I will try and do a video feed from there. I will definitely try. I'll try and do it maybe a stream for like an hour there as well. Because again, apparently when you first walk into the area, my booth's gonna be like right there. I'm gonna have a 10 by 10 booth set up right when you walk in, greeting people, and I will try and do that. Maybe have some people come up and have some talks. I will definitely try, Paul.
Cool.
For sure.
How many days is it? 2 days?
It's 3 days. It's 3 days. I was trying to get my son to go, Cole, so I don't go by myself and have somebody to help me out there. But I think he's not going to go. No, he's like 3 days at a game.
If I had the extra cash, I would totally go help you. But plane tickets are expensive these days.
Wait, Brooklyn. Whoa, Brooklyn, you going over there? Is that what he's trying to say? If you're going, you better stop by the booth. You better hang out. Jersey Mike's, best in Philly. That's what I've heard. Ohio Way Polo made it. What's up, buddy? All right, so I think we're just top of the hour. So we had a couple good talking points today.
Yeah,
a little bit different. Sure. A little bit different. We talked about a lot of things.
I like it.
It was good.
It's a potpourri of retro news, let's say.
No, it's funny. That's my son's. He was like 3 or 2. I think it was 2. He's out of nowhere. It says potpourri. I'm like, what? What's potpourri? It's like just like that. Better than I could ever say it.
First words.
Yeah, potpourri.
That's funny.
Sure wasn't Daddy's video games. That's for sure. Because he would call them garbage. Oh, you know what? I've been cleaning some stuff out. I said, right, Steve? I've been cleaning some stuff out.
Yeah.
I found 2 things I forgot to build. I got to build. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. I found a retro flag GP Case 2. I have a Raspberry Pi 4 compute board, but this is for it. I never built it. It's been in the box for probably 4 years. So I get this, and I have this.
I don't see anything, but
oh, you can't see it. All right, it's the PlayStation retro flag case with a screen. It's a PS2 or PS1, but it's got the built-in screen. Never built it.
Will be back to normal next week.
All right, so I gotta build these things, put them together this week, and try them out. No sense doing a review since they're probably like 4 or 5 years old. But yeah, I got to do it. So JLS, I got to tell you, bud, you got to let me know when that next show is. JLS Gaming has a lot of shows in Florida, and I will try and come down and make the next one. He asked me to come down last year. I couldn't swing it, but you let me know, and I'll make my way down to the show, JLS. If you have it this year, I'd be happy to go. And JLS, you're supposed to call me this week. You never did. Make sure you talk to me either this weekend or next week. All right, bud? All right, I think we've done it, Stephen. We're exactly at 9 o'clock. Anything you want to say before we end the show?
Not really. Like I always say, every week from now on,
way to go.
Don't be an asshole. That's going to be my new line. Just don't be an asshole.
But sometimes that's very difficult. Even for myself, apparently, it's hard to be not to be an asshole. But I don't mean it on purpose. But sometimes, I guess. But I'm realizing it. I am just an asshole. We all get our
days that we're not ourselves.
I guess.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. So it is what it is.
But Power Glove Gaming. Power Glove. I will come to Florida. I absolutely will come to Florida. Just got to let me know when you have that conventions going on, GLS, and work something out. Pork chops and applesauce. Isn't that swell? So I will simply say that, as usual, I really appreciate all you guys in the chat. You guys are definitely good friends to the channel, to Stephen and I. We appreciate you every week. You guys are funny as hell. Big also thanks to our residential AI, Jason, for always being there and putting links in the chat for me. Appreciate it. Oh, we got a super chat. Look at this. Right, the show's ended. We got a super chat. Papa Brad. Thanks for streaming. Keep the great work. That was just a nice thing. Thanks, cool. Papa. We appreciate it.
Cool.
So I will say again, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. And if you guys are in the Columbus, Ohio area, do go to CorgsCon. They'd love to have you there. And hopefully I will see you guys at Too Many Games pretty much a month from today. And what's today? The 31st. Okay. I guess a little days in the past. But I know that right now Super Game Room Dudes actually has the Evercade company. They're doing an interview with them right now. So you might want to go over there and catch the interview. But whether you're calling from Florida, California, Canada, Australia, UK, or anywhere in between, Trump's innocent. I'm just kidding. Not really, he is innocent. But we appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Make sure you tell your family and friends that you love them. Tomorrow's never promised. Nothing's worse than having regret. Regrets suck. But in between those times, I appreciate all of you. Game on.
Game on.
Game on. Sit, Blue, sit.